Start. Myself, Joy, here, and we have one of the greatest pianists from South America, Juan Carlos
Escudero.
And he's here for the fourth edition of Indo-Latin American Cultural Festival, the fourth edition. So let me start with you. You started your piano career at a very young age. So
Yes.
how did it start? Was there people in the family who was, playing the piano? Did you have a musical background in history?
Well, neither of my family played any instrument.
Oh,
You know,
right.
my grandpa used to play the violin when he was young,
Yeah.
but like as a hobby. But no one expected in the family to be a musician. So my dad is a lawyer. My grandpa was a lawyer. My great grandfather was a lawyer. So nobody expected that I cut with this legal aspect of the family. So yeah, it was kind of hard for them. I was like an alien, you know, playing the piano the whole day. So yeah, it was totally different and weird for them.
Yes, and you have done numerous concerts all over the world, playing music with different great composers.
Mhm.
And when you try and integrate music, which you're going to do today, there is the indigenous music of Ecuador as well,
Mhm.
right? And how you integrate that with the classical music, like with Tchaikovsky or Brahms and Beethoven.
Well, actually, tonight we're going to perform academic
Yes.
composers from Ecuador.
Yes.
You know, our music that we're going to play today, it's not popular music.
Okay.
It's inspired in folk themes
Yes.
from Ecuador, but you know, it's composed in an academic, classical way.
Mhm.
So it's very easy for me to, you know, all this knowledge of classical music to conjugate it with these academic pieces for violin and piano for this concert.
Right, and you've been also doing a lot of masterclasses. You've been a teacher also and professor of piano. So, what do you tell your young students who are exposed to different kind of music, electronic music and different kind of music, to get into the rich vein of classical music and to understand music in a more holistic way, to understand the nuances of music and the different diversity of music?
Well, you know, I think music is like a language. You know, I get it, I understand it, and I conceive it like in classical music
Yes.
with composers. But, you know, I am a huge fan of rock music. You know, that's why I told you about your shirts, Pink Floyd shirts. I'm actually a fan of progressive rock music.
Beautiful.
I used to play it in a tribute band, Dream Theater tribute
Dream
band.
Theater, yeah.
Dream Theater tribute band, and I play the keyboards there. I like a little bit of salsa music. I don't know if you're familiar with salsa
salsa,
music.
yeah.
I don't play it at all, but I do appreciate it. So I tell my students, of course, if they come to study with me, they are super into classical music.
Yes.
But you know, I believe that music is like a language, and you can see it as you want it, as you can understand it, and that's what I'm trying to tell them. If you like jazz music, it's fine. You have to have your technique done in the piano. Of course, you know, to play the piano is just one technique, and you usually learn it with classical music.
Mhm.
But if you want to study any other kind of music later, you know, jazz music or salsa or, I don't know, rock, in a rock band, it's going to be okay. But first, you have to learn how to do things, to make things done. And you have to play the classicals. You have to play Beethoven or Mozart just to know the technique, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the
And
fundamentals.
the fundamentals of you know,
Yes.
putting your hands
Yeah.
on the keyboard, it's
Yes.
just one way. It's different in the guitar.
Yes.
The electric guitar is so different like the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
It's different technique. But in piano, you know, in keyboards, I mean in piano, you know, it's usually the same technique. So that's why I encourage my students, independently of their tastes, musical tastes, that they should play the classicals before anything else.
Right. And what is the kind of cultural scene now in Ecuador with the musicians? Is it progressing and there is an evolution in music taking place? There's a lot of people coming in, interest. And how do you see it from a teacher's perspective?
Well, we have in Latin America this idea that classical music or academic music is like very far away from audiences. You know, when the orchestras perform, they usually wear tuxedos or fancy clothes. And you know, that aspect of music makes people like, I don't know, maybe scared of going to the theater. Yeah, you know, it's something different from my language. I'm wearing jeans, I'm wearing a shirt, t-shirt. So we're trying to, we have 4 professional orchestras in Ecuador. They are founded by the government, by the state. And we are trying to combine several repertoires, you know, what can I say, Pink Floyd, symphonic Pink Floyd, or salsa music with orchestras. And we encourage people to come to concerts. We usually have new soloists, get soloists from other countries. And of course, combining these repertoires with the old repertoires, the classical repertoires, Beethoven, Mozart, Mahler, whatever. And that's like kind of working. We have new University of the Arts in Guayaquil, actually. We have private conservatories. I actually own a private conservatory in Guayaquil. So yeah, we teach, you know, classical music, we teach piano, we teach how to sing I don't know, operas, but we also teach other kinds of music, like rock music, drums and guitar playing and bass playing. So, you know, as I said before, I believe music is a language, and independently what your tastes are, you know, you can conceive it as you want it.
Yeah. So great to meet with you. And good luck with this program today. I think it will be very good. And I just wanted to end with one quote which I read about him. Juan Carlos is destined to become one of the greatest pianists of our time, by John Gailworth, Music Courier, New York. And he is in front of us. I feel privileged to be with him and to talk about his music. And hopefully you will be seeing the Roger Waters concert.
Yeah, he's going to Quito actually this year, so hopefully I'll have
and
a
they're
ticket.
Doing a redoing of Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh yeah, he's going to perform that,
yeah. And that's a very interesting thing, that you have done an album in 73 and you can reinterpret that with bringing in other musical tonalities and other musical things to have a completely different interpretation of it in a very different way.
Of course, I believe, you know, that times in the 70s, 80s, 60s, you know, one of my favorite bands is called Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh, Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
And, you know, it was so different from whatever you were hearing those days. And, you know, it's still, you know, it's fashionable even today.
Yes.
You know, it's like music that has 50 years, as you said, like Roger Waters. And you know, that's why I say, like, music is a language. It doesn't have any time.
Yes.
You know, Beethoven is still today, you know, people listening to it, and
Absolutely.
It's music that has 200, 250 years and so. So, yeah, I get it.
Bye-bye.